What's up, everyone? Welcome into my home. I would like to give a quick shout out before I give my testimony, and then you guys will hear my testimony, and I hope you guys can appreciate it. It's going to be a testimony to mental health and how sadness can turn if it's not looked after. Sadness can turn into a mental health crisis, and it's not really talked about a lot in our urban community. So first shout out I want to give out to the Drink Champs channel, their podcast show. They've had a couple of episodes where they've talked about mental health, and they've had a couple of different artists on talking about different mental health, and that's a good look for people in my community, and into the urban community, because for Hispanics and Blacks, mental health is not really talked about a lot, especially at the the lower levels in the neighborhoods. Second show I would like to give a shout out to is the Mano show, Kitchen Talk. Mano, he had an episode a couple of times when they talked about mental health, and even Mano was going through some stuff he talked about, and I think that's really good, that we see people that the youth look up to, and they can say, well, hey, I had problems, and now I'm figuring out my life, that's good. I really appreciate things like that as a fan. Also the Fat Joe show, his podcast, show. He's talked about himself going through things back when he was going through it, and he felt like nobody was touching him. Once Big Pun had passed, he talked about his depression, his darkness that he fell into. But I got another person that I want to give a shout out to, but he is part of my testimony. So to get into my testimony, things weren't going right for me here in Florida. I was thinking about moving back to New York, and I was moving back up, back to the Bronx, and I had found a job up there already for a company, and I had packed my stuff up in storage, and I moved down. And once I got to New York, I started hanging out, had some good times or whatever. But this is where my testimony comes, because a lot of people from Florida was telling me, man, don't go back home, stay here, things are gonna be all right, things are gonna work out. And I was like, I didn't want to hear it. I had spent the summer up there, and I was like, nah, I think I want to go back up to New York. So I think that's where it's at. I'm gonna go home, where I thought was home, actually. So in my way to go to New York, I had a little job set up, so I had an interview up there, and I was hanging out and stuff. So long story short, my brother, he had to pick up his car at the Mercedes dealership. So we went to the Mercedes dealership to pick up his car. So as we're waiting for the car, I'm looking at the different cars that are sitting out on the out in the lot and whatever, and I see I think it was a silver Benz I remember, and he had charcoal wood interior and stuff like that, but nice rimmed out everything. So then I happened to look at the floor mats, and the floor mat said flip mode. So as my brother was coming back to me, because they was gonna bring his car out to him, I was like, yo, G, check this out. This must be Busta Rhymes' car. I said, because this, say flip mode on the mats and stuff. And my brother looked at it, and then out of nowhere, here comes Busta. He's coming out walking. I think he got two other guys with him, and he's walking out, and of course I asked for his autograph, and so I'm like, what's up, Busta? How you doing? Can I get your autograph? Whatever. He gives me his autograph, and I don't look at the autograph right off the back. I take his autograph home. So my brother gets his autograph, I get my autograph, some other guy gets his autograph. It was like, all right, Bust, thanks for your time, thanks for the autograph. We get in the car, we bounce. So, but I'm still going through changes, and I happened to, when we got to the house, I sit down, I'm watching the TV, so I finally take out the autograph to read what he wrote, and it said, to Jeff, enough love, stay strong, Busta Rhymes. I was at my weak point in my life. I was going through changes. People from Florida were telling me things. Well, don't go to New York. Stay here in Florida. Everything's going to be all right. I couldn't see it. So I went home to New York, and I was about to stay in New York. But sometimes I believe God, he talks through people. He works through people. And it's up to us as individuals to sometimes see it. And sometimes we're too busy that we don't see it. And I thank God that I was fortunate enough to see it. And when I read it, I was like, yo, G, what he wrote on yours? That's my other brother. And he wrote to Big G, something. I can't remember everything. My brother don't even know what he did with the autograph. But I know it didn't say what he said on mine. He told me to stay strong. So at that time, I was like, stay strong, you know. And I really didn't feel 100% about going back to New York. So I said, you know what? I don't think this is for me. You know, a lot of my friends have moved from New York. They moved to Florida. And here I am living in Florida, and I'm about to move to New York. And I said to myself, maybe this ain't right. You know, my pops, they want me to move to New York. He wanted me to stay here in Florida with him. My mom's was living in New York. My mom's is in PR. The only thing I have is my other brother in New York that he lived there, you know. So I was going to be really just with him. And I had a couple of cousins and stuff like that living up in New York. But I still, inside, I didn't feel. And when I read Busta's autograph, and it was like, stay strong. So to me, I took it as like, you know what? That's God talking to me, telling me to stay strong and telling me to bring my behind back home to Florida. So I called that job up and told him, listen, I'm not going to be able to make it. Something happened. I'm going back to Florida. I got to go back to Florida. And I came back home to Florida, and I stood here. And I've done very well since I've been back home. And it's been some years, but yo, Bust, I thank you for stopping. I thank you for taking the time to sign me an autograph. Maybe to you, maybe you write that to everybody. I don't know. That's not important to me. To me, what's important is that when I read it, I felt like God was working through you to get to me, to tell me to stay strong and not to give up everything that I had in Florida, to go back to New York, to not know what I was really getting myself into if I would have went into New York and stood there. So I hopped on a plane, came back home, called my old job back. I was like, listen, things didn't turn out the way they were going to turn out. I don't need to be in Florida. I don't need to be in New York. I'm coming back home to Florida. Can I get my job back? And they were like, of course. We didn't even give your truck away to nobody. And now I'm back home, and I've been here ever since then. So I believe this happened in 2000, to be honest with you. I don't think social media was that privy at that time. But Busta, I thank you. I keep your autograph in a frame. I've kept it in a frame ever since I landed back in Florida. And I keep it, and people who know me know that I keep this on the side of my bed, and it's to remind me to stay strong, man. No matter what things may come through your life, whatever episodes may come through, you know, not to fall on that, you know, that God got another door open for you. You just got to just be there and be patient. It's going to happen, and just be focused. And people who are in sadness, man, relieve that stress. Talk to somebody, man. But I just want to show y'all, man, this is my autograph from Busta. Let me see if I can show it to y'all without the glare. Here it is right here. I think I can say it. So yeah. So I keep this in the frame, man. And I'm glad Busta didn't flip this around, man, because this actually was a ATM printout. It told me how much money I had left in my bank account. You know, so I'm glad he ain't flipped that back and see my bank account money, because it wasn't too hefty in there, you know. But I'm doing good now. I'm blessed, man. And God has given me everything that I've prayed for him for, and that I work for. I work hard for. And you know, if anyone, you know, especially in my urban community, I know a lot of people don't talk about it. They don't, you know, a lot of people in our, you know, especially the young ones, they be telling you, yo, suck it up. You know, y'all don't even worry about that. Suck that up. But that's not the answers that we want to hear, because sucking it up, you know, we need to release that. We need to release whatever hurt, whatever sadness, and get that out, you know. Talk to somebody, find somebody to talk to. And that's what I've done in my life. I found some people to talk to, some people that are close, that I know they're not going to use it against me and you later use my words and try to hurt me with my own words. Bus, I salute you, my brother. I thank you. I've seen all your achievements on TV that you've been doing. Your music, you know, still fire. You know, always you the Don Dada, that music, man, you know what I'm saying? But I thank you, man. I thank you for taking the time and stopping for a fan. And like I say, I believe God worked through you that day. And I'm staying strong, baby. And I'm just keeping my head up, and I'm doing what I got to do, man. And I'm good. I'm fortunate. I'm doing good. So I thank you for taking the time out. And I hope you continue to take the time out to your fans. And I really appreciate it, bro. I really do appreciate it, man. So again, I salute you, man. I thank you and for all your achievements, man. You know, much love. You know what I'm saying? So, yo, I appreciate you, man. Peace.